Das ist also quasi hier alles, was man gerade machen kann. Okay. Ja, super. Tolle Expo.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you The Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Okay, ich meine, das sieht schon irgendwie cool aus. Passiert hier aber was oder ist das jetzt einfach nur anderer Titelbildschirm? Jetzt kann ich aber sagen vor allen Dingen, ey, ich hab hier Vorabversion von Stanley Parable 2. Hat noch gar keiner. Ich bin der Erste. Ich kenne einen Entwickler. Ich kenne einen sehr weit entfernten Freund von dem Entwickler. Ich kenne die Mutter von dem Vater, dessen Onkel, Freund, die Mutter von dem Typen da kennt. Ich glaube, das ist einfach nur ein Gang, der so ein bisschen gebogen ist, verformt ist und dann durch irgendwelche Türen geht, ne? So wie das aussieht. Oh, oder es geht plötzlich in die Finsternis. Ah, okay, Loop. Selbst hier ist alles rot. Okay. Credits? Oh. Eine vollständige Credits-Anzeige, okay.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Außer die
And
Boll.
then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, abgesehen von The Stanley Parable 2 und den, wird irgendwann gesund. Luftballons, hat sich hier an sich nichts verändert. Gut, das hier hat sich verändert, weil ich hier zum Himmel fahren kann.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Kein Eimer? Oh, da ist der Eimer.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Ich hab einen Eimer. Ja, und du? Kann ich damit irgendwas machen? Erreiche ich was, wenn ich jetzt zum Beispiel, Ach, da kann ich ja nicht rein wieder. Da kann ich nicht wieder rein. Erreiche ich was, wenn ich out of bounds gehe? Nee.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
Welche Stirn?
Said the bucket.
Not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like...
Oh.
God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
Töte den Eimer! What the fuck? Was war das denn?
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Am Eimer hat sich nichts verändert.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Wo habe ich das Messer vor allen Dingen her?
No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Was ist, wenn ich jetzt in den Himmel fahre? Mit den Eimer. Jetzt. Ich habe das dumpfe Gefühl, dass das nichts bewirkt. Aber für eine Sekunde dachte ich, die bleiben diesmal aus. Nee, die gehen langsam wieder an. Okay, ich glaube, hier ist nichts. Spiele ich hier gerade The Evil Within oder was? Okay. Was ist denn das für ein Gang? What?
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Der hat mich direkt zu diesem Part geschleudert. Der hat quasi die zwei Räume davor einfach jetzt weggemacht, damit dann das hier ist? Okay. Dann, gehen wir mal zum...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
No.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Genau.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Ich glaube, hier passiert jetzt nicht wirklich irgendwie was Tolles. Du hast bestimmt einfach nur anderen Dialog, wa? Ich denke mal, du hast hier einfach nur anderen Dialog.
The bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right. Then walking to the lounge. Then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
Ja, aber sowas von. Gut.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Gehen wir mal... Ich wollte jetzt eigentlich erst zu dem Selbstmordraum gehen, aber gehen wir mal erstmal zum Tonband.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh! Gucke mal an, ich hab da plötzlich ein Collectible. Voll der sichere Weg, ey. Voll der sichere Weg. Ob man da jetzt irgendwie hin kann? Ja. Wer weiß.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these. Only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Warum habe ich das blöde Gefühl, dass es das Teil wirklich gibt? Was wahrscheinlich der Fall ist, wa? Kann man hier eventuell... Nee, ich bin genauso hoch wie da hinten und ich bin auf die... Genau, das würde ich... Ah!
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Ja, wenn mein Eimer doch nur Arme hätte.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Hä? Was ist denn das jetzt? Huh?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket
Das war aber merkwürdig.
telling him that the
Hat das
employee lounge
Spiel einfach so ein paar kleine random Dinge, die keinerlei wirklich große Bedeutung haben, aber die einfach halt so ein bisschen klein wenig frischen Wind wieder reinbringen?
No, said the bucket.
Wahrscheinlich, wa?
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
Okay,
The
gehen wir mal
cargo
da
lift,
lang.
Yes, go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Ich habe immer noch die Vermutung, dass man hier irgendwie runter kann, damit man da reingehen kann. Aber, naja, wer weiß. Hab jetzt nicht unbedingt so eine Lust, quasi 1000-mal zu sterben, bis ich dann herausfinde, man kann da gar nicht runter. Hä? Der sagt ja gar nichts. Es läuft nicht. Evidence. Beweis 252? Was? Was für ein Beweis?
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
zurück! Der Typ, der den Eimer verflucht hat! Okay. Telefon?
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct?
Ja, klar, hier. Noch mehr.
Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
Warum sagt der Ballon das? Warum sagt er mir, dass ich irgendwann wieder gesund werden soll? Wir haben doch einen an der Waffel. Warum kommt der Song von da oben?
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
Oh. Mir fällt jetzt erst auf, dass das hier komplett weg ist.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Oh, jetzt gehen wir mal zum
bucket calling to him,
Selbstmordraum.
that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes, good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Und warum sagst du jetzt nichts? Warum grätscht er sich da selber nicht in seinem Dialog dazwischen?
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Okay, das finde ich dann gar nicht jetzt so verkehrt, dass dann quasi der Selbstmordkram nicht da ist. Okay. Fürs Erste. Ich mein Leben einfach wegwerfe, das interessiert doch keine Sau. Aber die von dem Eimer? Kannst du es wagen? Wo bin ich? Is this a bucket?
Now then,
Is this a
I'm going to
meme?
run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Wer wird Millionär? Nein.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
What?
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Ja?
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Ja, nein?
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
What the fuck? Ja.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor.
Woher soll ich das
An
wissen?
enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Woher soll ich das wissen? Bin ich hier derjenige, der gerade hier belehrt wird?
Is this a bucket?
Ist doch gerade einer, der mich verarschen will, oder? Ja.
Correct. This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
What?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry.
Ist kein Problem, du bist auch ein Eimer für mich.
Buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
Wait. Wait.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket?
Ja.
Every single thing in the game was a bucket?
Ja.
My God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Ist das ein Eimer? Wahrscheinlich, wa?